What's going on, everybody? This is an episode from the No Gimmicks Needed Wrestling podcast. Do you like podcasts and you want to see the full podcast? Make sure you check out the No Gimmicks Needed Wrestling podcast on all your podcast platforms, such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, among many others. But you're listening to the episode right here on YouTube, so make sure you hit that like button and below, and make sure you hit the subscribe button to NC Studios and NC Level Up for all your gaming needs. This is the Nerd Coalition. Enjoy the show. All right, so speaking of things that's been changing, we have here your boy Walter from Imperium finally came back. He said, look, I'm getting divorced now. You know what I'm saying? I'm dating somebody new. We gonna, finally come back to NXT because we haven't seen Walter back since he had that match with Dragunov back at what was it, TakeOver 36?
Yep.
Yeah, back when it was still called TakeOver.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this past week, Walter had a match with Roderick Strong. And then after the matchup, they beat him down and they said, you know what? He said his name was, he said he got taken out by Gunther. Gunther, he said. Not Walter, Gunther. And his name was coming up as Gunther Stark. Well, some people did what WWE didn't do, and that was a Google search. And it comes down that the name Gunther Stark was a former Nazi, I don't want to say the wrong name, former Nazi boat general from back during World War II. And I was like, oh, that did not go off well at all. Go over well at all. So,
especially when Walter calls himself the Ring General.
Exactly. And so WWE had to, push back, and he said, we dropped the Stark name. And then seeing what people are saying on social media, like a hit dog will holler. Now, before I get into it, let's just go over the surface thing real quick. Why the name change in the first place?
Now, I just have some, for example, Finn Balor, right?
Yes.
His name was Prince Devitt for years. And then Finn Balor said, well, they hated Finn Balor at first, too. That's a difference. This is a whole different situation because when Finn Balor came in, he came in as Finn Balor. He wasn't Prince Devitt for 5 years and then decided to be Finn Balor. Walter has been here. He's been a champ for 700 plus days. Walter has been here. He's been at Survivor Series. I can understand if he was coming in to the WWE, but he's been a factor. He's been here for years, and now all of a sudden it's just he just got through now.
Yes, I mean, and like I said, we've had name changes for all the last or first names dropped. We went from Big E Langston to Big E, Antonio Cesaro to just Cesaro, and Matt Riddle to Riddle, and then Andrade Cien Almas to Andrade. You get used to it over time. That's just what happens. But the main thing is that there's something wrong with the name, and he was introduced, just like you said, to the NXT roster, to the NXT UK roster, and to the main roster. At Survivor Series, the main roster as this Walter name. So when you see that somebody is trying to change the name, like Vince does, because Walter is his legal name. And WWE wants to own everything about you. They want to own your soul. Basically, 21st century slavery. And he probably was like, I'm not giving up my name for you to own it. So they wanted to change it. And so they can make him successful in their eyes. Because maybe Walter wasn't intimidating enough.
Gunther ain't going to do
it. Now, and then we go on to the Gunther thing. So then there's a lot of people that's on here to talk about something. There are a lot of people that's named Gunther. And, people were showing different examples of people that's named Gunther. I'm like, people, that ain't the point. That's not what is happening. First of all, he wasn't named, it was Gunther Stark, okay? That was the name at first, okay? And then they didn't even give her a chance to do a Google search oh my God, I don't think this is going to be an alright thing to even do. You don't do shit like that. And if it ain't broke, you don't fix it in the first place. And right now, as soon as I heard that name, I'm like, first of all, he don't fit the mold of NXT 2.0. At least not to me.
I thought you was gonna say he don't fit the mold of a Gunther. I was gonna say you don't say.
No, he don't fit the mold of NXT 2.0. And this whole new Gunther name change, it just doesn't fit to me. And I know it ain't gonna fit on the main roster. And you got these 60 and 70-year-old guys trying to come up with a hip young concept. That's the problem right there. How do you know what this young audience is looking for when you don't even know what's going on? And then you know what made it worse? Your boy Road Dogg, who was already released from the company with that whole batch with William Regal and Timothy Thatcher and all them. He's been released. Well, he comes. He responds to a fan on Fightful.com, I think it was, or Wrestling. I'm not sure what it was, and he claims that there is no problems with NXT because there have been some issues internally with people not enjoying the success that they thought NXT 2.0 would have. It wasn't going to be successful, especially after the way you handle it leaving. You blew up the old NXT just to make your own NXT. And you're wondering why the fans are not gravitating to your characters? Seriously. You gave him nothing to gravitate about. First of all, it's like Braun Breaker is not getting over because his name is Braun fucking Breaker and he breaking X's when he comes out. That's not why he's getting over. People like Braun Breaker because he's related to the Steiners.
Oh yeah.
They know that he has Steiner on his. He's Rick Steiner's son, who sounds like Scott Steiner. He's like the perfect mixture of both of them. That's why he's getting over, not because his name is Braun Breaker with 2 Ks. Carmelo Hayes is getting over, not because they put up with Trick Williams, not because they want to give him a stereotype. It's because the man was a good damn wrestler back when Triple H had him and they was doing the breakout tournament. Was he not?
Yeah, you're right.
That's what gets this shit knocked down. Once again, people just gravitate towards Tony D'Angelo. I'm just character, I guess, whatever the case may be. They just gravitate towards the Italian gimmick. But I'm just saying. But all the other things you got going on in there, you got people literally that nobody knows. Nobody gives a shit about half these people on your roster. And the ones, it's clear that the ones that Triple H had, you're getting rid of them on purpose. So people are not dumb. They can see that shit. So now when Walter comes back, yes, I'm scared because I'm like, he's not going to be successful on the main roster with a name like Gunther because Vince McMahon, he's in full control over there. And he'll probably make him start dancing with Apollo. He'll probably turn him into what was Chavo Guerrero when he?
I was just about to say Karen White. Yeah,
Karen White. Like, I can see them doing that because I'm like, that does not. First of all, they didn't give up. Why are you trying to make a Mexican guy a racist white guy? That makes that makes no
Vince.
sense.
What do you mean?
What you say?
It's Vince. What do you mean?
I'm about to say. So you don't think that they would have a guy like Walter, who is named Gunther, with that look on his face, be like a get off my lawn type guy? As a heel, and like have him feud with Ricochet, that's what they would do. That's what they would do, and I'm like, that's not who Walter is. And when I heard that, I was like, this just makes me upset. It makes me upset. And
it does.